Hello and welcome to the Energy Connect studio at India Energy Week 2024 in Goa with me, Chiranjib Sengupta. I'm delighted to have in the studio with me Keisuke Sadamori, Director of Energy Markets and Security at the International Energy Agency or IEA. Keisuke, thank you so much for joining us in the studio and great to speak to you again.
Thank you. Thank you for including us.
And to start off, you're just fresh off the launch of the IEA's Indian Oil Market Report 2030. What are the highlights of that report?
Well, basically, this is the rather unique report focusing only on India and how the India oil market will develop toward the 2030. And the major finding is that India will see the fastest growth in the world in oil demand, even surpassing China toward the 2030. So this fast growth of demand in India will lead to higher import requirement for India. And also India's refining capacity will also grow. We estimate that to be about 1 million barrels per day. So that increased import requirements will have energy security implications for India.
Now that's interesting that while the oil production growth happens in India, what kind of role do you see the Indian oil sector playing in the energy transition?
Energy transitions are now happening around the world, and India has a very ambitious decarbonization renewable targets, and are working very hard to accelerate the clean energy transition. However, because of the enormous growth of the entire energy demand, the fossil fuel parts, oil and gas, and coal will also need to grow. So that's the current situation in India, as I understand.
And while that's happening, there's also a lot of focus on biofuels. And especially in the IEW here, last year as well, we saw a lot of discussions around that. What is your sense of biofuels and how they can support this growth of the energy transition?
Of course, biofuel is a very important part to decarbonize the transport sectors and other sectors. And I would like to commend Indians' efforts to accelerate, increase the blending mandate of the bioethanol to the transport fuels. And India is trying to accelerate the uptake of bioenergy by moving forward the deadline for the blending target of 20%. So that's quite a notable effort, and also I would like to commend the Indians' initiative in the area of biofuels in the G20. So overall, we hope that the Indians' energy efforts will lead to a faster growth of biofuels in India.
I think that's really something to look forward to. And talking a little bit about investments in the energy sector, where do you foresee the most investments happening in the future? Is that going to be a balance of renewables and oil and gas? Because in your outlook, you also foresee a certain growth.
Of course, the renewable is growing, and it needs to grow even faster. The IEA they has suggested, and it was adopted in the COP28, of the tripling of renewable targets to 2030. And in order for that to happen, the investments in renewable must grow much faster. And renewables investment is happening in the relatively well in advanced economies and China, but we need to see much faster growth in other parts of the world. So we need to see that happen. But at the same time, as I said, the entire energy demand is growing so fast in India. So the investments into the traditional energy sectors, traditional fuels, oil and gas, will also need to be ensured to keep the lights on and keep the economic growth in India.
That's something that we also see happening here at India Energy Week, where all the energy ecosystem is present. What are your thoughts? What are your takeaways from this?
I see a very dynamic discussion going on in India, and we see, as I said, that India will be the fastest country in terms of the oil demand growth, but it can be true for other energy sources. Renewables are growing fast, natural gas. So in that respect, we hope that this will be a very good opportunity to ensure the stable and affordable and sustainable growth for the energy sector. So I would like to congratulate the successful Energy Week. Thank you very much for including the IEA.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Keisuke, for
Thank
your
you.
time and your fascinating insights. Thanks for watching. And we will be back with more interviews from India Energy Week at our Energy Connect studio. Until then, goodbye.